Welcome to Water Study Guides with me, your host, Donovan Mulberry, educational legend and style icon. You what? I'll have you know that this hoodie is hip-hop chic. This vest is... well, yeah, it's just a grubby old vest, but that's because all my cool tops are round at my mum's in laundry basket, waiting for her to wash them. No, I don't do my own washing. So what if I'm 32 years old? Will you be quiet? I'm trying to do a study guide here. Honestly, I'm going to be talking faster than a squirrel with the squits, so if there's all that you don't quite get, make sure you pause it, go back over it until you understand it. Also, when you see this sign, pause the video there and have a go at whatever's been suggested to you, because that stuff will really help you get your hands on the awesome sounding 9. Today we're going to be looking at the extract from The Prelude by William Wordsworth. Now, when I first read this poem, I thought, what the manatees melons is it banging on about? But in actual fact, it's pretty straightforward. Now, cut to me in me bath. And here I am in me bath. Why I'm in me bath? I'll tell you. Now, much of the Prelude is about a boat ride. I don't have a boat, but I do have a bath, which is a bit like a boat, because you sit in it. If I clap my hands, we are instantly transported to a lake in the Lake District, which is where the poem is set. So what actually happens in the poem? Well, it turns out that as well as being a really famous poet, Wordsworth was also a scrotty little thief. When he was a kid, anyway. It tells us near the start of the poem that he committed an act of stealth and troubled pleasure and nicked someone's boat.
I returned the boat.
Whatevs, Wordsworth. If you're uncertain what happens in the poem after the little scally nicks the boat, this clip will explain.
Row, row your stolen boat across a great big lake. Get right scared and prove yourself because you see a hill. Row, row your stolen boat back across the lake. Stress and moan and have nightmares for weeks and weeks and weeks.
And honestly, that's actually all that happens. Pathetic. Young Wordsworth goes rowing out across a lake. He looks up and sees a little mountain, has a grade A freak out that lasts for many days. All because he sees an hill. What a loser. Wordsworth, you've got to be the softest poet ever. Do you know when I met William Blake? He threatened to headbutt my face off and set me on fire. And here's you, getting scared of an hill.
It wasn't a hill, it was a mountain.
A mountain? Oh no! It's a mountain! Take it away! And oh no, look up there, there's a cloud! It's terrifying! Oh! Gravel! Gravel's down there! Pathetic.
It wasn't just the mountain that upset me, you dimwit. If you knew anything about my life, then you'd understand.
Well, it just so happens that I do know about your life, Wordsworth. The poem does have a little bit more to it than just being about a thieving little tow rag who gets scared of an hill.
Mountain!
To get a better idea, let's have a think about the poem's context. Now here I am in William Wordsworth's flat in Somerset. Now for a time, another mega famous poet, Samuel Coleridge, stayed here with Wordsworth as well. They were like super mega BFFs.
Coleridge, listen, glad to have you staying with us, really am, but could you please start flushing the toilet after use?
Listen, if it's brown, I flush it down. But if it's yellow, I let it mellow.
Well, 1, that's disgusting, and 2, this is clearly brown.
What do you expect? I'm colourblind.
Coleridge helped Wordsworth write his poems, and in the end Wordsworth ended up dedicating the Prelude to Coleridge. Proper bit of bromance if you ask me. But, joking aside, Coleridge and Wordsworth were actually known as romantics. Not because they wanted to smooch each other at back at Odeon Cinema. They were known as romantics because of the type of poetry that they both wrote.
Oh, nature's beautiful.
poetry often explore the relationship between nature and man. So if you can tell us that the Prelude is full of images of nature because this is typical of the romantic poetry genre, then you'll be bang on money. The Prelude is written in first-person narration, and that's because this is actually Wordsworth's own personal little story, exploring man's struggle with nature. In terms of the rhythm, it's written in what's called blank verse. Now you can tell us that Wordsworth used blank verse because it creates a conversational, natural tone. The blank verse and the first-person narration makes the poem seem conversational. It's like Wordsworth's just having a nice little chat with you, the reader, and telling you all about his personal struggle with nature and how he got terrified of an hill.
Mountain!
To keep the tone of the poem conversational, Wordsworth has used a lot of other techniques as well. Wordsworth once famously said,
Poetry is the spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings.
and you can see this spontaneous overflowing of emotion in the Prelude because of all the ands and the enjambment. You see, the poem is very fast-flowing and pacey. It's like all the ideas and images are just spilling out of Wordsworth like milk from a sock. So lots of pace and lots of ands create a sense of excitement. And just to demonstrate, check this out. And I was so happy because my mum had got me tickets to go and see Justin Bieber at Manchester MEN Arena, and I couldn't believe it because I'm the biggest Justin Bieber fan ever. And anyway, I was on my way to Manchester MEN Arena, and Curtis, my older brother, was with me because my mum said I couldn't go unless he came to look after me. And I was right annoyed about that because he's a right idiot. But anyway, I said to Curtis on the way on train, I was like, Curtis, I'm going to find Justin Bieber and I'm going to kiss him. I'm actually going to snog him on mouth, even though I've got cold sore. And he was like, you're not. And I said, I am. And he went, you're not. And I said, I am. And he said, I'm going to knock Justin Bieber out. And I just said, I'm going to knock you out. And then we didn't talk about the rest of the train ride. But anyway, we got to Manchester MEN Arena, we're in Rosie, right up in Evans, and I thought, I'm never going to meet Justin Bieber up here. And I thought, what am I going to do? And then I decided that what I'll do is pretend to faint. So I pretend to faint, and the security guard came across, carried me backstage. Curtis helped. And I said, don't worry, Curtis, well, it's just a fake faint. And he says, why are you doing a fake faint? And I said, because I want to get backstage to see Justin Bieber. And he went, you idiot, that's never going to work. And I said, it is. And he went, and I said, it is. And I said, and when I meet him, I'm going to kiss him. And he went, you're not going to kiss him. I went, I am going to kiss him. And anyway, round corner right then, Justin Bieber actually emerges in person, surrounded by all the security guards. And I thought, what am I going to do? This is my chance. And I barged past all the security people, and I got right up to Justin Bieber, and I said to him, hello, Justin Bieber. And he said, hello. And then Curtis comes up to me, and he says, go on then, do it. I went, I'm going to do it. And then go on then, do it. And I went, I'm going to do it. And then Justin Bieber went, do what? And I looked Justin Bieber right in the face, and you know what I did?
Tried to kiss him?
No, I vomited all over me sen, because I'd had too many pork scratchings and mowams. So, all the ands and enjambment make the poem right fast and free-flowing. It's like Wordsworth's really excited to tell us his little story about the big scary hill.
Are you telling me that the way I make the mountain sound isn't the least bit scary?
No, you sado. I don't get scared and moult me. Well, actually, tell a lie. I do get kind of freaked out by them green pigs from Angry Birds. I mean, pigs are meant to be pink. Why ever green? Just weird. But I do not get scared of hills. And mountains are just glorified hills, aren't they? I'll knock a mountain out, me. Oh, look at that chuffing dripping mountain. Oh, that's terrifying. Uh-oh. See? Hey up, Mum, it's me. Listen, do you know my laundry? Have you done it yet? I've got another pair of shorts that really need washing. Can you come and get them, please? Grass stains. I'm on a lake in Midlet Lake District, so if you can get a move on, please, because I'm in Midlet shooting a study guide. Yeah, thank you. And bring some vanish, please. Lots of vanish. In fairness, Wordsworth has used loads of amazing imagery and language in order to try and make the mountain come to life and seem right intimidating. Or so young Wordsworth thought anyway, and if you thought that something like this were coming after you, then that won't be very good at all. And the mountain's made to seem even more threatening by Wordsworth's use of sibilance.
She fell seashells on the seashore. Oh!
Wordsworth's gone to considerable lengths to make the mountain seem alive and scary. He also uses this very strong, powerful simile, like a living thing. Wordsworth?
We romantic poets wanted man to consider his relationship with nature. You see, nature is life, and life is nature. So who's to say that the mountain isn't alive in its own kind of way? Just because the mountain isn't human doesn't mean that it's not living in some magical, mystical kind of way.
Why don't you and nature just go and get a room? The journey across the lake is actually a metaphor for the emotional and mental journey that Wordsworth had to go on whilst trying to understand his own relationship with nature. Look at how the imagery, the tone and the language all change as the poem goes along.
Early on, the young Wordsworth is confident of himself and pleased with his little adventure. He is proud of his skill and says, "I fix my view upon the summit." This suggests that he's aiming for the top because he's confident, happy and proper buzzing, really.
I meant to throwing me proper buzzing, really.
Above him was nothing but stars, suggesting that he felt free and that the sky is the limit.
I can do anything I want. I'm king of the lake.
He rose lustily, which doesn't mean he's like a weird lake perv or not. It actually just means he was rowing energetically, again suggesting that he's having a good time. He uses the simile, like a swan, which gives a sense of elegance and beauty, but then the mountain makes him poop himself and everything changes.
So at a certain point in the poem, everything starts to change, and caesura is used to show this change. Caesura is just a pause in a line of poetry, and for a great example of this, when the poem starts to change, have a look at the comma in line 21.
This comma or caesura creates an ominous pause and tells the reader things are about to change. Now the huge peak is black and huge, suggesting Wordsworth is scared of it. The repetition of struck suggests he's frantically trying to row away.
After his encounter with the eel, the young Wordsworth isn't so cocky anymore. He says he stole his way through the water, back to the covert of the willow tree. Now stole and covert both suggest stealthiness and guilt, like he's ashamed and wants to hide away. And also, he tells us that he's in grave and serious mood, and that there are no pleasant images of nature anymore. He starts out really positive and confident, and ends up in uber freak-out mode, mega cacking himself. But don't you write mega cacking himself in your exam, choose something more appropriate like Wordsworth was pooping bricks. This change as the poem goes on is perfectly reflected in the first and the last lines of the poem. The first line tells us that it's a summer evening, which sounds really pleasant and nice. but then the last line tells us about the trouble in his dreams, which sounds dark and upsetting.
Did you know that Romantic poets believed in something called the Sublime?
Of course I know all about it. Actually, I don't think you even know about it, so why don't you prove that you know about it by explaining it to us in a clear manner?
What a dunce! The Sublime meant the feelings of amazement, awe and fear that one might experience when witnessing an incredible landscape. Don't believe it? See for yourself.
Where are we? Oh my word! That's the most beautiful landscape I've ever seen! Oh, look at that! A double rainbow! A double rainbow! Oh my word, that's terrifying! I'm scared of this landscape! What's going on? Oh, it's changed again. It's all just so sublime.
In the Prelude, I capture the mixed feelings associated with witnessing the sublime. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh, it's terrifying. Oh, it's confusing. I also sprinkle in a few elements of the supernatural and the magical.
That's right. Images like small circles glittering idly in the moon and sparkling light. They sound magical. You can tell us about that. Furthermore, Wordsworth uses the phrase elfin pinnace. It's not to do with an elf's todger. A pinnace means small boat, but more importantly, the word elfin. That means elf-like. So, it's an elf-like boat. Sounds proper magical, like some out at Lord of the Rings.
We loves elfin pinnaces.
But as the poem goes on, these magical vibes turn to dark, gothic, nightmarish images. They're hung of darkness, blank desertion. Ooh. So you need to be clear about how these things change as the poem goes on, because it's important in this poem. And just remember that all these changes are linked to one key idea, that the romantic poet is trying to understand his relationship with nature. This extract is just one very small section of just one of the books in the complete Prelude. It's actually 14 books long. This massive, chuffing chunk of poetry is all about Wordsworth's life and, yes, you've guessed it, his relationship with nature. It must have meant an awful lot to him if he ended up writing 14 books about it. He was writing the Prelude all the way through his life. It's like he was constantly searching for enlightenment and answers to the question of what is the meaning of life. And you see, this is reflected in the changing mood and the ideas of self-conflict in this section, the extract that we've been looking at. And if you can mention any of these ideas, then boom, shed loads of marks for you. I think that's about it.
Don't forget comparisons.
Thank you very much, Green Pig from Angry Birds. Yes, you're right. Need to think about which poems you want to compare the Prelude to. Excuse me. Hiya Mum, it's me. I've got another pair of shorts for you to wash. Yes, I know you've already been once today, but you need to wash these ones too. Yeah, grass stains again. Yes, I know you've recently had your hip replaced, Mother, but if you get here really quick and get me shorts, then you can go back home and chill that hip out. Can't you?
You can compare the Prelude to the other romantic poems in the cluster, Ozymandias and London.
Mine's best. I'll kill you.
I've got a girl's face.
We know how important nature is in the Prelude. In Ozymandias, nature is equally powerful, using time to totally break down a massive empire.
Damn you, nature.
In Ozymandias, there's no doubt that nature kicks man's head in. It is the sheer brute power of nature that scares the young Wordsworth in the Prelude. Man and nature is an important element of romantic poetry, but so is being against the establishment. In this way, although the Prelude and London are very different in a number of ways, they're both still romantic poems. Maybe that's something worth exploring as well.
My face.
In the Prelude, Wordsworth tells us that there are no pleasant images of trees, of sea or sky, nor colours of green fields. This is scary and bleak, and very familiar to the bleak imagery used by Seamus Heaney in Storm on the Island.
I use bleak imagery too. For tree frog.
Finally, we know that Wordsworth seesaws between the beauty of nature and the scariness of nature. In Kamikaze, it is the beauty of nature that triggers the suicide pilot to think about his family and childhood. For better or worse, in the end, these memories caused by the beauty of nature make him choose not to kill himself.
Oh, majestic mackerel. Oh, beautiful big black crab. Ah, and tuna. I'll not kill myself now.
Oh, Wordsworth, look, it's a pot plant. Oh, it's so scary, but so beautiful at the same time.
Pathetic.
Yeah, you said it. Now, if you still think that you don't know notes, pay attention to these top 3 quotes.